Become a CEO of an energy company responding to government requests for new green power plants and CO2 second chance. Welcome to Teacher Mouse Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp. CO2 Second Chance re-implements CO2 and can now be played fully co-op. It's a game for 1 to 4 players. It's published by Stronghold Games and GeoChix, and it is designed by Vitalis Serta and illustrated by Ian O'Toole and others. Let's look at the components. There's a game board that's double-sided for semi-co-op and co-op. There's player boards and player aids, power plants and infrastructures, cards, tiles, tokens, and more. And here's a look at the insert for the game. This game offers 2 modes of play, fully co-op and semi-co-op. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of the fully co-op version. Now, in the co-op game, there are 4 decades, and in each decade it's divided into 5 phases. There is operations, income, environmental goals, energy supply, and then end of the decade stuff. You could lose at the end of any decade if your points are below 0. The first phase in each round, or decade, is the operations phase, where players will be taking actions. You have to choose one main action, and there are some executive actions that you may do. You could propose a project by placing a power plant tile on a region that has that type of energy, like water matching water. You gain the benefits on the space you covered, like getting more money, scientists, or tech cubes, and then increase your knowledge in that type of energy. Or, for a main action, you could prepare an infrastructure by paying 1 CEP, getting the benefits shown, flipping the tile over, and then placing your infrastructure on that tile. Or you could build a power plant, make sure you have enough knowledge, pay the necessary costs, move the infrastructure to the leftmost energy demand spot, and then insert the matching power plant. You'll receive points that are listed on the tile. Place one of your control cubes on the matching energy spot and see if you have control, basically who has the most cubes present. Players will need to build in the right order. You're going to have to propose a project first, and then you can build an infrastructure, and then a power plant can be built on that infrastructure. The nice thing is players can work together. One player doesn't have to build all 3 items. There are 3 executive actions, and you may take all 3 of these actions in any order. Like move a scientist from your board to an open project, or from a project to an open lobbyist card. You could buy or sell CEP. You could play a card that will help you get more stuff based on the actions you choose that turn. Or you could claim a UN goal card. Players will need to complete a certain number of these by the end of the game. After the operations phase comes the income phase, and players can choose to receive a combination of income and/or points. You look at the 2 stacks furthest along in each knowledge track, and those players receive income. So here, red and yellow would get 3, and blue would get 1, but pink, nothing. Players choose to receive income and points and/or money. We found it helpful to get points and try to get money other ways. Then comes the environmental goals phase. You'll look at what you achieved that decade and flip those tiles over. So if you built a solar energy plant, you flip that token over. If you reach the different spaces on the knowledge track, you flip those tokens over. And then any complete matching energies at the summit. Any face-up tiles are negative points, depending on what round you're in. Then, during the energy supply phase, you look at each region compared to your current decade. If there is a power plant, then move to the next region. If no power plant present, then draw a fossil fuel plant from the bag. Do this for all the regions. Then increase the global CO2 by the numbers you just placed, so 70 in this case. And then CEP must be spent for all regions that had a fossil fuel plant built. You could then spend points to reduce the CO2 levels. The cost is going to be determined by what decade you're in. You could lose at the end of a decade if your points are below 0, and you could lose at the end of the game if you don't complete enough UN goal cards. And you could also lose at the end of the game if any player doesn't complete their private goal card. There are quite a few private goal cards, and they require players to do things like have certain numbers of CEP, tech cubes, building power plants or infrastructures, and things like that. If you can make it through all 4 decades without losing, then you might have a good chance of winning. The game flows well, and it makes sense. You propose projects, you then build the infrastructures, and you build power plants. But this is a brain burner. If players just do what they want to do, maybe they all just want to propose projects, then you might lose in, say, the first decade, speaking from a personal experience. But if players work together, and they actually build and help each other out, and build a good foundation, then the rest of the game is going to work much better for you. The components are great in the game. All the different power plants are cool with their different shapes. And I like how they interlock with the infrastructures. I would set aside at least 3 hours the first time you play this game. The box says 2 hours, and I would say that is right for people who know how to play. I wasn't initially sure about the theme, the pollution, green energy, but I think it's well integrated into the game. There is a lot of good decisions that you need to make, and it feels like you just want to do everything immediately, and I feel that creates good tension for the co-op play. So if this sounds like something you would enjoy, then check out CO2 Second Chance from Stronghold Games, and we'd love for you to subscribe to Tantrum House.